There's a longing in every human heart, a desire to know God is near. Not just know about Him, not just memorize verses, not just experience fleeting moments of peace, but to truly feel His presence. And yet, so many people miss it. They pray, they sing, they read the Bible, and still the sense of God's nearness feels distant. Why? Because God's presence is not a reward. It is not something you earn. It is something you enter into, something you position yourself for, something you invite with intention. And this begins with something very physical, something simple but profoundly spiritual: your posture. Yes, posture. Scripture shows us over and over again that the way we position our bodies affects the way we experience God. Hands lifted, knees bowed, hearts open. Look at the Psalms. Lift up your hands in the sanctuary and bless the Lord. Bow down before the Lord, O worshippers. These are not just poetic words, they are spiritual principles, because our bodies are not separate from our spirit. They are deeply connected. When you lift your hands in prayer, something inside you aligns with heaven. When you bow in humility, your heart softens before God, and the Spirit notices. But here's what most people don't understand. Raising your hands is not a ritual. It is not about impressing anyone in the room. It is a physical declaration of surrender, a signal to heaven and to your soul: I am open, I am ready, I am yielding to you. And when you combine posture with intentional prayer, something begins to shift. Your mind starts to quiet, your heart begins to soften, your spirit becomes alert. And suddenly, you begin to feel the presence of God. But there's more. It's not only your hands and posture, it's your intentional focus, where your eyes rest, where your attention is placed. The Spirit responds when you direct your heart fully to God, not distracted, not anxious, not half-hearted, fully attentive. Jesus said something profound in Gospel of Matthew: "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there in the midst of them." Notice the principle. God's presence shows up when there is intentional alignment. And that alignment is not just mental. It is physical, emotional, and spiritual. Let's pause for a moment and consider worship. When the early believers lifted their hands, bowed their knees, or even fell prostrate, their hearts were transformed first, and then God's presence became tangible. A warmth, a peace, a deep, undeniable awareness. But this does not happen automatically. You have to enter into the posture. You have to raise your hands when your spirit resists. You have to bow when pride tempts you to stand tall. You have to open your heart fully when fear or doubt whispers inside. Because God's presence is invited, it is welcomed, it is participated in. And there is another principle that is often overlooked: breath. Yes, the way you breathe affects your ability to feel God. When you slow down, when you breathe intentionally, when you inhale gratitude and exhale surrender, your body, mind, and spirit align. And suddenly, you notice things you've been missing. The subtle movements of the Spirit, the gentle nudges, the deep, comforting awareness. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The way you position yourself physically can actually amplify these experiences. Stand with arms lifted, kneel with hands open, sit with your heart upright and expectant, or lie flat on the floor, fully surrendered. Each posture communicates something to God, and something within you begins to respond. But there is something more. It is not only posture, breath, or even intentional focus. It is your expectation. Not hope, not wishful thinking, expectation. A deep, settled confidence that God is present. Because when you expect His presence, your spirit becomes fertile ground for it, and your senses become alert to His movements. And this is exactly what Scripture shows us repeatedly. When David danced before the Lord, when the Israelites lifted their hands in the wilderness, when Jesus prayed in solitude, expectation, attention, and surrender converged, and God's presence became tangible. But here's where most people fail. They expect the feeling to come first, the warmth, the peace, the tears, the rush. But the Bible flips it. Position yourself first. Surrender first. Seek in with your body, mind, and spirit first. And then the presence follows. And this is where prayer becomes transformative. Not just reciting words, not just listing requests, but a full engagement of heart, mind, and body. Lifting hands, kneeling, breathing intentionally, focusing attention, and expecting God. All these together create a spiritual environment where His presence can be felt tangibly. And when it does happen, you know it immediately. A quiet assurance, a deep joy, a warmth that cannot be explained by circumstance, a peace that transcends understanding, because the Spirit has made Himself known. But even beyond posture, breath, and focus, there is one final element that amplifies God's presence. And this is the most powerful of all. It is the posture of surrender in your heart. Hands lifted physically mean little if your heart is resisting. Knees bowed physically mean little if your soul is clinging to control. Attention fixed externally means little if your inner life is divided. True presence comes when every part of you yields: mind, body, heart, soul. And when you finally reach that point, something supernatural happens. The atmosphere shifts, your awareness sharpens, your connection deepens, and the ordinary space around you begins to feel sacred. Because God's presence is not just spiritual, it is experiential, it is tangible, it is felt. And that is the beginning of a life fully aware of God's presence. A life that can experience Him at home, at work, in solitude, in worship, in prayer. It starts with posture, it deepens with attention, it expands with expectation, and it blooms with surrender. And the truth is this: most believers never experience this because they never intentionally position themselves. They wait for emotion first. They wait for sensation first. They wait for feeling first. But Scripture shows a different path. Position yourself, open your hands, bend your knees, lift your heart, prepare your spirit, and then His presence comes. Now that you've positioned yourself, now that your hands are lifted, your knees bowed, your heart open, there is a deeper layer that most people never reach. It is the layer of awareness. God's presence is not just something you perform, it is something you enter into. And to enter, you must train your senses to notice Him. Not with your eyes alone, not with your ears alone, not with your mind alone, but with your spirit. Think about how the Bible describes encounters with God. Moses on the mountain, Elijah in the still, small voice, David in the fields. Notice the pattern. It was not chaos or noise that revealed God, it was attention and stillness. It was heart and spirit aligned. It was expectation combined with surrender. And this is why posture is so important. When you lift your hands, you are opening your heart physically. When you bow, you are softening pride and resistance. When you kneel, you are humbling your spirit to be receptive. These are not empty gestures, they are spiritual channels. But posture alone is not enough. Breath is the next key. Slow, deliberate breathing. Inhale with gratitude. Exhale, surrender. This simple rhythm aligns your body and spirit. It helps quiet the mind. It softens tension in the heart. It clears space for awareness. Try this next time you pray. Raise your hands, kneel or sit upright. Close your eyes if it helps. Take slow, intentional breaths. Focus your attention solely on God. Expect Him. And then listen. Because God often speaks in subtleties. A warmth in the chest, a gentle peace, a whisper in the heart, a sudden clarity. These are His movements. And when you begin to notice them, something extraordinary happens. Your entire perception shifts. Your prayers become alive. Your worship deepens. Your life transforms from ordinary to sacred. But there's another powerful principle to understand. Posture, breath, attention. These are preparatory. True encounter comes through surrender of the will. Every time you pray, God is asking, will you trust me? Will you let me lead? Will you set aside fear, control, and pride? Because hands lifted without surrender are empty gestures. Knees bowed without yielding are ritual without relationship. The Bible repeatedly emphasizes surrender. Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Notice the sequence. Submit, then resistance fades. Submission opens the door to his presence. Surrender invites awareness. Yielding creates intimacy. And here's where most people get stuck. They want God's presence, but they cling to control. They want to lead their own lives. They want guidance on their terms. But God's presence cannot be forced. It is invited. It is received. It is felt by a heart that has let go. And when you let go, when you truly surrender, a remarkable thing happens. You begin to feel God not as a distant concept, not as a theological idea, not as a memory of a past experience, but as living, breathing presence. Your hands lifted become a channel. Your knees bowed become a doorway. Your attention focused becomes a magnet. Your heart surrendered becomes an altar. And suddenly, the atmosphere changes. You may feel warmth. You may feel peace. You may feel a weight lifted. You may feel tears arise. Or you may feel quiet joy. All of these are God's presence, not dependent on drama, not dependent on emotion, but dependent on receptivity. And there's one more element that amplifies this experience even further. Worship. Not songs for the sake of music, not melodies for entertainment, but worship that engages your whole being. Lift your hands, bow your knees, sing, hum, or whisper with intention. Let your voice, body, and spirit declare, God, I am yours. Because worship is a signal to heaven and your soul. I am present. I am attentive. I am yielded. I am ready. And the Spirit responds. God's presence fills that space. Peace deepens. Awareness sharpens. Intimacy grows. But even beyond posture, breath, focus, surrender, and worship, there is a final key. It is expectancy. Do not approach prayer hoping for God to show up. Do not hope for a fleeting feeling. Do not merely wish for His presence. Expect Him. Anticipate His touch. Believe He is near. Confidently look for His movements. Because expectation activates spiritual sensitivity. It tunes your heart and mind to notice subtleties. It opens your awareness to the Spirit's presence in ordinary moments. And here's the beautiful truth. God's presence is available anytime. In your home, on your walk, while you work, in your quiet moments. All you need to do is prepare, position, surrender, focus, expect, and then you will feel Him. This is the rhythm of experiencing God's presence. Posture, breath, attention, surrender, worship, expectation. Master these, and ordinary moments become sacred. Prayer becomes alive. Faith becomes tangible. Life becomes transformed. Because God's presence is not distant. It is not elusive. It is not theoretical. It is here. It is real. It is available to all who choose to position themselves fully. And as you practice this daily, something extraordinary happens. You begin to live in a state of constant awareness, constant connection, constant intimacy. A life where God's presence is not just felt occasionally, but woven into every step you take.